What's good, everybody? It's your boy, the Kitchen. We're back with another video. We are here to talk about more X Factors. This time we're talking about Texas, South Carolina, the number overall 3 and 4 seeds, the number 3 and 4, number 1 seeds. If whichever one makes more sense to you, that's how we're going about this. These ones, Texas isn't as difficult for me because I've been saying the one about Texas all year. So I'll just start there. We'll start with Leah Crump. I genuinely believe that if Texas is to win a national championship, it's definitely not going to be on the shoulders of Leah Crump, but it's going to be due to the things that Leah Crump is able to do offensively. The way that she's able to score the ball, the efficiency isn't quite there, but the skill level is clear as day. And when she has gotten opportunity, 9 times out of 10, she's flourished in that opportunity. She had a really good game against LSU the first time they played. The first time they played, she had 16 points, 5 rebounds. Even against Oklahoma, she had 12. Was 4 of 7 in that game. Was 7 of 10 in the LSU game. Then turn around and she did struggle against Vandy, where she was 2 of 11. They lost that game. And there's been some games where she hasn't really played a ton, where she hasn't really got a lot of minutes. Like they played Tennessee, they won that game by 2. She only played 7 minutes. And then the next game against Arkansas, she scored 16, had 6 rebounds. The next game against Mississippi State, she had 12 points. And then, only played 9 minutes against Alabama, played 19 minutes against them the next game, which probably because more of a blowout. And then the South Carolina game, in the final, she had 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block. For me, the reason that I feel so strongly that she is going to be the player that puts them over the hump is because the things that Texas has struggled with in the half court over the last few years is what Aaliyah Crump does well. Aaliyah Crump is able to create off the dribble. She's able to shoot. Even though I think for the season she's shooting 31%, I think she's a much better shooter than 31%. And I think when she's out there, she's more of a weapon than most other players that you can put out there. Especially if you're able to play her and Jordan Lee at the same time. That's a really hard, there's not matchup nightmares, but it makes you have to pick and choose. Obviously, people are going to play off of Rory because of her lack of shooting the 3. Madison Booker also doesn't shoot the 3, but is very good in the mid-range. So everybody's, I don't want to say packing in, but everybody's attention is on that. But when you have a Jordan Lee and an Aaliyah Crump on the wings, who are also great at cutting and making plays, it's harder to guard those 2 players. And if you have a Justice Carlton or a Kyla Odeaker in the game, or Brea Cunningham in the game, it opens the door for so many different things that you can do offensively in the half court. So that's why I feel like if she doesn't even have to be heavily featured, but if she's playing, if they're giving her 15 to 20 minutes per game, I think she's gonna have more than enough opportunity and more than enough space to make plays and help her team win games. And I'm telling you right now, I don't think there's a world where Texas wins a national championship and Leah Crump doesn't play a part in it. I just don't. I don't see it. Yes, they've been good. They beat South Carolina twice. They beat UCLA. They beat LSU. They lost to Vanderbilt. They beat Kentucky. They beat Tennessee. They beat Alabama. They beat Georgia. A second game against UCLA will be different. A game against UConn will be different. And something that you have to do against those teams that I just mentioned, score. You have to score. And UConn is elite defensively. They're going to try to take away what you like to do the most. And that's Madison Booker coming off of pin downs, coming off of screens, shooting the midi. That's Rory Harmon, trying to navigate the pick and roll, trying to get out in transition and make plays. The thing that you can't, scout for as much because of how good of Madison Booker, Rory Harmon, and everybody else isn't Aaliyah Crump. It's kind of similar to Tessa Johnson, her freshman year when she was at South Carolina. She may not play a ton, or she may not play like heavy minutes. She's gonna come off the bench, but when she does, you cannot leave her open, and she's capable of like just blowing the door open. I think she had 19 points in the national championship game her freshman year. So I'm not saying that Aaliyah Crump's gonna have 19 points in the national championship game, but she has that ability, she has that skill, and she just needs that opportunity. As for South Carolina, this one, some people are probably going to disagree with. I've said it for years and years. I don't even know how many years I've said it now, but I still believe, I will always firmly believe that the X factor for South Carolina is Raven Johnson. If Raven Johnson is aggressive and shooting the ball with confidence, shooting the ball well, this team wins more often than not. And that's not even just this year. That's going back to multiple years. The game that she struggled against Iowa, they ended up losing. If she played well in that game, and I don't even want to say she played bad, but if she was aggressive and wasn't in her head in that game, they probably win that game. So when you look at what she's capable of doing, what she's done this season in some big games, it gives me a good feeling and a good mindset about how she'll play in these bigger games as the tournament goes on. In the first, where they played USC early, she had 14 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 50% from the field, and was 2 or 3 from 3. That's big. The Texas game, 7 points, 6 assists, only took 6 shots. Sorry. The Louisville game, she was 11, 4, and 8. Only took 7 shots, but they won that game by 2. Then you go to the next Texas game. She had 10, 4, and 6. She was 4 of 10. You know, that's more than what she had 7 and 6 and only took 6 shots. It's not a huge difference, but again, with Raven Johnson, it's not just the stats either. It's the things that she's doing on the court, especially offensively, and when she's making shots. When is she taking shots? When is she making shots? All that matters too. She had 16, 5, and 4, or 16, 5, 5, and 4 against Oklahoma. She was 8 of 14. They ended up losing that game in overtime. She had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists against Vandy in a blowout win. And then the first game against LSU, she had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals. The game against Tennessee, she had 13 points, 7 assists, 2 steals. The game against Ole Miss, they did end up winning. She was 6 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals. That stat line, I don't think they're going to be able to win the national championship against the better teams with that kind of stat line. 2 points, 4 assists against Alabama. Granted, they won those games in blowouts, but the teams that you're gonna play to get to a national championship, I don't think Raven Johnson's gonna be able to have those kind of performances. The 22 points, 8 assists against LSU. And that's not me saying that she needs to go out and score 20 points a game or 20 points in a national championship. She just needs to be aggressive. She just needs to be confident. When Raven Johnson is confident and aggressive, it's the best version of her, and it's the best version of South Carolina that you'll see. And when she's hesitant or thinking about what shot she might take or being overly passive, that's when she struggles, and in turn the team struggles because she is the leader. She's the point guard. So I said Raven Johnson. I also think Agat McKeer, if she gets the minutes in the bigger games, will also play a huge role because of the versatility that she brings, the athleticism that she brings, and just the speed aspect of South Carolina runs, but Joyce Edwards is running the floor, can catch it on on an outlet pass and things like that. But when Agat McKeer is in the game and you see her just take off, or you see her in transition, it's just that's a different type of it's kind of similar to Malaysia. Obviously Malaysia for a while is very flashy and probably faster, but I think when Agat McKeer is in transition, when she has the ball, she's a problem, an absolute problem. And I think even in the half court, she's been able to understand what she needs to do and be in the right spot. She's a good cutter. She can get offensive rebounds, all these different things that she's capable of doing. I think in the big games, those are some of the important things that you're looking at, and you're okay, if I can get this out of this player in this game, or if I can get this out of this player in this situation, then I feel really good about our chances. Because when I say X factor, that doesn't mean they need to do it every game. But in the biggest moments, can those players step up and make plays? Like, I've seen Agat McKeer step up in some big games this season and make plays. And again, when I say make plays, that doesn't mean, oh, you scored 5 points in a row or anything like that. It's literally you just made a few plays that changed the game, or you made a few plays that help your team in a situation when some other players were struggling or they couldn't figure out exactly what they wanted to do. She had 8 points against Texas in their win. She had 0 points in them against them in only 3 minutes against them in the first loss at least. She had 8 points against Oklahoma, 8 points against Vanderbilt, only 5 against LSU. So I do feel like, and again, a box score doesn't tell you everything about impact or value on the court. Just being able to see energy and see an impact and see what it can do, like with Aaliyah Crump, like when she came in the LSU game, they went on a run, like quickly, and it wasn't like, oh, she scored all the points. Like, she did score during that run, but she was just one of the catalysts of the run. And I think Agat McKeer is another player that could be a catalyst of a run or catalyst of a few plays in a row that just flips the switch and flips the game and flips the momentum. And that's really what you need from your X Factors. Come in, even or start, flip the momentum when you need it. When you need someone to make a play, when you need someone to make a shot, when you need someone to go get a block, get a steal, whatever it is, this is the player that you're looking at. Because there's always, like, you always have the players that you know for sure are going to do this every game. You know what Joyce Edwards is going to do every game. You know what Sanaya Laston is going to do every game. You know what Tessa Johnson is going to do every game. And that's not to say that you don't know what Raven Johnson is going to do. But when Raven Johnson is confident, it's a completely different Raven Johnson. Like, there's two different Raven Johnsons. And this is not to be disrespectful and say that one is not good. One is still really good. But the one that we've seen against LSU this year, the one that we've seen when she's confident and aggressive, is going to be a really good WNBA player. The one where she is a little bit more hesitant and is just like really focused on running the offense, that's the player that like may struggle to stay in the WNBA. And I think she has to find that balance of like being the floor general, but also, taking matters into her own hands when need be. And when she's done that this year, it's worked out for them in their favor. I do think Alicia Turner-Bize has an opportunity in this postseason to do something. Obviously, she doesn't play as many minutes, and she's still getting acclimated. But I do think there's going to be a game where they're going to need her to step up, and I think she's going to be able to come in and make an impact. I can't remember what game it was, but there was a game that earlier this season that she came into and immediately had an impact as well. And again, impact doesn't mean like you have to impact the whole game. You can impact a game for a few minutes, and that's all the rest of your team needed to go on the run that they did. I think it might have been the Oklahoma game. She had 9 points, 2 rebounds in 14 minutes. I think that was the game. I think that's the game that I'm thinking about, because the first game she played was Texas, and she didn't record a stat. Well, she had 2 fouls in that game. And then their next game was Coppin State, and then the next game after that was Oklahoma. So I think that is the one that I'm thinking about, where she had 9 points, 3 rebounds in 14 minutes. And again, I'm not saying that she's coming out here to score 15 points or anything like that. I just think certain plays, certain instances, she's going to be able to make plays and help her team in a big way. But yeah, I'm really excited for the tournament and what teams and players will do in said tournament. I think Justice Carlton also, before I end the video, I think Justice Carlton is also an X factor, but I think she's been so consistent recently that she really probably isn't an X factor at this point. Like, you know what you're getting from her, but at the same time, you get 15, 4 and 4 against South Carolina. You had 3 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists against Ole Miss the game before. You had 14 points and 4 rebounds against Georgia the game before that. She had 4 points and 5 rebounds. Against Vanderbilt, she only was able to play 7 minutes. Didn't score. She played against Tennessee in 17 minutes, had 8 points. The game before the Vanderbilt game, where she had 0, she had 17 against Kentucky. The game against Oklahoma, she had 16 and 8. The second game against South Carolina, she only had 4.7 rebounds. The LSU games, the first LSU game, she had 7 points, 2 rebounds. The second game, she had 7 points, 1 rebound. But one of those games, or I think it was the one that they won, she was a part of that run that I was talking about with Leah Crump earlier. She was a part of that run. The first game against South Carolina, she had 13 points, 8 rebounds. So she is also an X factor because when she plays well, judging by this, they haven't lost. Like when she scored more than 10 points, I don't think they've lost this season. She had 0 points in this loss, 4 points in this loss, 7 points in this loss. So, and then the wins in the big games, she's had 10 points, 6 rebounds against UCLA, 13 and 8 against South Carolina. So, yeah, she had, I was about to say, she had 18 and 11. She had 11 and 3 against North Carolina. So, she's one of those players that's like energy, hustle. Like she does, like obviously she's skilled too, but a lot of her is just effort and energy because she's a 6'1" player that plays, power forward, sometimes small ball 5. So everything that she does is going to be effort and energy, and she brings that all the time. It's just sometimes when you are a energy and effort player, it just doesn't go your way. Some of the sometimes the extra plays that you try to make end up being fouls, or you're a little overzealous on an offensive rebound or something like that. Just small random things that people don't really think about. But Justice Carlson and Leah Crump are both X factors for Texas, and then Raven Johnson and I'll say Got McCure are X factors for South Carolina. Again, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments who you feel are the X factors of each team, how confident you feel about your team or these two teams going into the tournament, and who do you feel like, whose X factors do you think are the most important in the tournament? I've only talked about 4 now so far. If there are some teams that you still think that should be in this conversation, Vanderbilt and LSU and some other teams will still be in the conversation as well, but what other players do you think are going to be X factors that are going to be players that you have to look out for, even if they're not on your team? Who are you feeling like that is going to be? But again, appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it.